After many different bikes, finally 300L, it's here. But because it's almost Christmas, we have to make some changes to it before we can go on. Looks much better now. Welcome to the very first episode I have ever made in my life. I'm a motorcycle mechanic. I have my small workshop, which you're going to see in a minute. I promised myself when I get 300L, I'm going to start a YouTube channel to show you guys my adventures and how my life as a motorcycle mechanic in Norway looks like. So let's move to the workshop where I guess I'm going to feel much more comfortable, and we take it from there. So hello and welcome once again. This is my workshop. It's dirty, it smells, but it's actual workshop. I'm actually working here every day as a mechanic. Here I'm taking my patients and this is my job. This is what I do. After I'm finished filming, I'm actually going to make a valve adjustment on the Virago 1000. The workshop is still work in progress. I'm not finished with everything. I have to finish the tops, I have to finish some shelving. I built everything by myself, all the way from ground up. I made a concrete floor, I built the walls, I built the roof, and all this is made by me on the budget, as mechanics do. I will make a small episode about what it's where and how it's all working, how it looks like, because behind the camera there's some more stuff, more equipment like tire changing machine, tire balancing, front forks station, welding gear and stuff. So maybe episode 3 or 5 or 6 gonna be a small tour of the workshop. I'm gonna show you all my tools, and yeah, I adapt to the market here in Norway. So I'm taking in all the brands and all the models and all ages and types of motorcycles. Very often I have a motorcycle here that I have never even seen before. So I'm not getting only Japanese bikes like Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki. I'm also getting popular bikes here in Norway, which is Harley Davidson and BMW. I work on those as well. But sometimes I'm getting very crazy bikes like the brands some of you never even heard of, like Bimota or Changyang or Ural, Dnepr and stuff like that. But in this very first episode, I want to introduce myself a little bit, show a little bit of workshop, but we're going to focus on the CRF. That's the bike that starts all of this. So let me switch the bikes and we're going to talk a little bit about CRF. So here it is, we got the bike on the bench. I lift it up. I know what you're thinking, it's a brand new bike, there's nothing to do with it. There is a lot. I have to modify the bike somewhat to make it usable here in Norway. I'm planning to make a small trip to Oslo to show you guys the road to Oslo from my place and how the Oslo in winter looks like. So what I'm going to do with this bike, I'm going to make some modification. We're going to mount the heated grips, we're going to mount the heated seat. We're going to throw away a lot of stuff which I don't like. I'm a big fan of reducing the weight which you don't need, and there's quite a few things that I'm never going to use and I don't need them on this bike. So I'm going to get rid of them. Small stuff, but adding all of it together we can probably save a few kilo. Like for example the helmet holder, which I don't need, the entire bracket for the license plate. It can be much smaller and much lighter in my opinion. And we're going to change the steering, we're going to put it higher. We're going to change the mirrors. There are some other things I want to change, and other things that in my head are not necessary, at least for me. Please do not think if I throw it away, you have to do it. You don't. Keep it original if you want. So let's do some small modifications to that bike before I take it for the first ride and share it with you guys. Let's go. I'm removing parts which for some of you might be ridiculous to remove, but I know I just don't need them. I know how all this works, so yeah, don't do what I do, just watch. Because we're going to be changing the hoses for the brake fluid front and back, I'm going to remove them because we're going to get rid of the ABS sensors and ABS discs on the wheel. So first thing I need to do, in order to remove the ABS, I need to drain the brake fluid so I don't spill it all over. As you know, it can cause some damage and we don't want that. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to sound like a maniac, but this is crazy. The amount of equipment that it's necessary to brake a little bike and two wheels, two small brake systems, it's crazy. This belongs in a car, like I said before. And don't take this as advice, but from experience, from many years and many different bikes and many different adventures, I can stop any bike from any speed at any terrain much faster without ABS than with it. And I'm not saying this to sound like some kind of professional, oh my god, driver. No, it's just what it is. From experience, I know that I can stop especially a light bike and especially a light bike off-road. I can stop this bike much quicker without the ABS. I know there's an option to turn off the ABS. There is a little button here. You can just hold it for 2-3 seconds and your ABS is going to be off. But this is not necessary. Yes. One more thing I have to say, a sort of disclaimer. What I do with my bike, please don't do with yours. If you want to do it, you're doing it on your own responsibility. I'm telling you, no, don't do it. I'm doing it because it's my bike and I can do whatever I want with it. If you remove anything like I do, you're gonna lose your warranty. Probably, you even might be in a violation with your law by removing the ABS, for example, or turning lights and stuff like that. I'm gonna use this bike off-road, so I'm safe. So I move into my home because it's warmer here and I'm going to be working with all those little gizmos, and it's nice to be warm when you work with those. It's a little bit chilly in the workshop. What I'm going to do, I'm going to install this heating mat. It's going to be installed just like this, so it's nice and warm. I said that the ABS belongs in cars and this belongs in cars too, but you will understand if you ride a motorcycle in -15 for 3, 4, 5 hours. This makes a big difference. So now you're going to watch me remove lots of those. Lucky for you, you're not going to have any sound. You're going to have some nice music and you're not going to hear me swearing at every single one of them. I have some nice tools to try to grab them, but they are so deep that most of them are going to be done with the flathead screwdriver. I will try to make as little damage as possible, and then we're going to replace them with the new one. This is two-stage heating. It means you have a switch in a 3 position, off, 1 and 2. 1, it's nice and warm. 2, it's really hot. So you got yourself a nice 5-second clip, and I was working here hard for 30 minutes. So now I'm gonna slide this in, and then we're gonna choose a place for the hole for the cable that needs to go down. But first I need to place that one as it's supposed to be. These two hooks are gonna have to come back because they're actually holding the seat into the frame. So they're gonna go back, but the strap is not coming back. So if anybody needs a strap, let me know. So I made a big mess in the workshop. I'm gonna have to clean it up in a second. The bike is stripped of all the parts I don't need. Starting to put some of the parts that I'm gonna have, which is a fat bar, some heated grips and stuff like that. We're gonna have to do some wiring because I'm gonna get rid of all those buttons here. On the left is gonna be a clutch sensor, so we can start the bike while it's on the gear. But we got rid of the secondary air solenoid and all those hoses. Also, we got rid of the charcoal filter. Don't ask me. I'm gonna have to do some work with the cables here to connect the switches. And the exhaust pipe is here. I'm gonna mount it soon. So what we have here is a Swedish Army winter tires with spikes, and we're gonna fit them on, and then we're gonna see if we can have fun with that bike in the winter. The header pipe is already on. The silencer, I have to make one from scratch myself, so we're gonna build one out of that. So the hoses, the tubes inside original wheels are surprisingly good. They are 3 millimeters thick, which is wow. Usually they use a very thin one like 1.5. Those ones are good enough for me to reuse them on winter wheels. So I'm not going to change them for the heavy duty 4 millimeter hoses from the Enduro and motocross bikes. I'm actually surprised they put such a thick, good quality hoses from the factory. I was expecting some kind of garbage plastic foil. They're good enough to use them again on the winter tires, so I'm not going to add more weight by putting heavy duty hoses. So now what you're going to see is me putting this extremely hard tire on. Obviously you're going to see that in a few seconds, but it will take me about 15 minutes. So I'm going to balance the wheel now. I'm going to leave it with 2.5 bar. Obviously we're not going to drive with the pressure as high as that, but just so the tire sits nicely, we're going to leave it for 1 hour, and then we're going to do the front wheel, so stay up for that. So the wheel is now balanced. I know some of you are going to say it's no point to balance off-road wheel, you're going to get mad, you're going to lose some of the spikes, you're going to get stuff into the tire and it's immediately out of balance. I know that, especially from the winter car tires when they get stones in. Once I took out over 200 grams of stone just picking up them from the tire. But I know the rim is brand new and it's perfect, the wheel is nice and clean. I know if I balance it that any kind of trouble or vibration I'm going to get during driving is not going to come from unbalanced wheel. At least I eliminate that by balancing it. So now I know it's good. I balance all of the wheels. If it's ATV, if it's 10 inch, if it's 21 inch on Tesla, I don't care. I balance my wheels to the perfection. I might close my eye a little bit, like 5-10 grams on the off-road bikes or ATVs, when the balance is not so important, like on a sports bike or cruisers. But I balance all of my wheels, even if it's enduro, motocross, trial bikes, I don't care. I balance them just to be sure that when something shakes, at least I know it's not from the wheel. So the back wheel is done. I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to take off the front wheel, change the tire, balance it, and then we're going to continue with the project. So the winter tires are now on. We can continue with other modifications, and I got the 2 brand new tires from the CRF300L. If anybody needs them, let me know, because I don't think they will ever come back on that bike. In the summer, I'm definitely not going to use those. We're going to use something more knobby, something more off-road. And actually, to be honest, I don't think I have a use for those. So the secondary air is plugged now in both places. Crankcase breather stays on, we need that of course. And the last touch for the air intake system is going to be a 3-layer sponged air filter from Twin Air, which we're going to slide in the place of the original, just like that. So the steering is up and forward. Of course we changed it to the fat bar from 22 to 28. There's still some cables that needs to be done. And I like the position of the steering. I already test drove the bike for a few minutes. I like the position, it's higher, it's more forward, it's much nicer to stand on the bike right now. The standard Yuasa YTZ8V gonna be swapped with super light gravity battery. They're about 20-25% of the weight of that one, so it's gonna be a nice weight saving. And I'm going to show you as soon as the new battery arrives. I'm going to show you what's the weight difference between that one and the new one. All this going to be cut off from the frame. Those ones going to be also cut off. The sensor will be off and the side stand will be off. We're going to change that to a nice enduro style light aluminium side stand that's going to be welded up into here, and it's going to be hiding all the way up here under the plastics, so it's not going to be sticking out here and catching all the mud and dirt that I'm going to drive in. So parts in Norway, original parts, are so expensive here that you can actually sell some parts of your bike and make enough money to buy yourself upgraded parts from internet, from many different websites, which are going to be cheaper and better. Side stand thingy is off. That's a ½ kilo. So here it comes, a noise test video. Here's the exhaust I made, the pipe I bought, the rest I kind of cut and shaped so it fits. I shortened the pipe, I changed something inside, and well, let me test it. Obviously I warm up the engine before. I'm not doing this on a cold engine. It sounds okay, it will be good for the snow. So the brake hoses are now here. I have to mount the rear. The front is on, I have to bleed the system. Few small details and then we're almost ready to go. Now what I like to do is take one of those zip ties After you bleed the system, pump your brake a few times, squeeze and hold, put the zip on it, and I leave it locked like this for 15, 30, 20 minutes. That's what I like to do, especially when I change the brake hoses to a new one. All the little bubbles that's sitting stuck to the wall inside the hose are going to travel all the way up to the master pump, and when you cut this one off, the lever release and all the bubbles disappearing. It's magic. That's what I like to do. And when you come back after half an hour, you can also check for the leakages on the hose, on the pumps, on the caliper, on all the banjo bolts and all the connections. You can see if your gaskets are not leaking. And all you have to do is just cut the zip tight, lever jumps back on, and all the little bubbles that are now in the master pump just gonna disappear. So all you have to do is this. And now you have a nice hard brake that you can use with 2 fingers, and it brakes really nicely. This pump is a Brembo from some old KTM. And here it comes, one more nonsense from my head. What I like to do on my bikes, there are many different screws on the bike, many different sizes, M6s, M8, M12s, different bolts, different nuts. What I like to do on my bikes is to change all the screws to Umbraco. Doesn't matter the size, I try to adapt, I try to find a screw, because then when you travel and you need some tools with you, if you change all your screws to Umbraco, all you need is this, and you can take the whole bike apart. With this set, I can remove all the plastics, I can remove front forks, I can remove engine covers, as long as I change all the screws from different types. I change all of them to this. I do this as much as possible. Some screws have to stay, but many others, like those two, to remove the wheel, to remove the front forks, to remove all the fairings and covers and different stuff, you can change them all to Umbraco, also known as a 6-edge key in some strange places. I like to do this because then when I travel, all I need is this, and I can take the whole bike apart. I don't need the sockets, I don't need different sizes sockets. And I know that you can buy a Umbraco set even smaller than this, like this bicycle sets that are this small. But all I need is that, and I can do a lot mechanically on the bike. So here is my gold. No, it's not. It's actually all the screws from the bike. Some of them are not coming back. Some of them are changed to Umbraco. There's a lot of screws. The bike is almost done. There's still some screws that needs to be changed, especially here on the engine. But basically what I did, by changing the screws, I can take both wheels, I can take all the fairings, I can take the forks out, I can remove the brakes and everything on the steering bar, and the razors and lots of stuff. I can remove the fuel tank, I can remove lots of stuff just using the simple tool that is Umbraco set. For the small trips, like one day, like I'm gonna do now, a few hours, up to one day, this is all I'm taking. All I need is this key set, few screws, few nuts, some zip ties, tape, and some gloves in case I have to take off the wheel or touch the chain, and this is how it looks like when I'm done. You don't need this one, you can use a jacket or a t-shirt. All you need is that, and most of the time you don't even need that. And if you have a big problem that this is not enough, well, you might just get tow or push yourself to the workshop, and you're gonna need bigger help anyway, so there's no point to take more. This will fit under the seat of most motorcycles. If not, just put it in your backpack. But here it is, it's my CRF300L. Good enough for me, good enough for you, good enough for everybody. This is the greatest motorcycle ever. So now the bike is done as far as I need. all things that are supposed to be changed are changed, and I can go take a small ride to Oslo. Stick with me, I'm going to show you the road. It's not actually that bad, it's only minus 10-ish today, so it's going to be fun. The tires are kind of floating all over the place on the asphalt, but they're very good on the snow and ice. We'll see how it's going to go. So it's not as cold as I thought. It's okay. I can drive all day. Oslo Fjord. And a little ferry up there. Nice. So I'm at the place called Ekeberg. There's a very nice view of a big part of the Oslo from here. But now we're going to go all the way up to that hill on the other side of Oslo, where is a ski jump called Holmenkollen. Holmenkollen, Oslo. It's extremely windy and I'm hungry, so let's go and eat something. Yeah, it's cold and windy. So that's it. That was the very first episode. Hope you enjoy it. As more episodes I create, the better they're gonna get. I hope you can find some time to watch the next episode. There's going to be much more coming. I'm going to try to make an episode once every week. So in the next episode you're going to see me doing small trip around the area I live. It's beautiful. It's going to take about 3-4 hours to drive it. I'm going to try to close that into one half-an-hour episode or something. As far as now, the bike worked perfectly. It's exactly what I expect from this bike. I'm very happy with it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode.